Bucknell University senior Isabella Carrega is working on tracing the genealogy of Charles Bell, a runaway slave who ended up working at Bucknell as a janitor.
He comes just by chance, passes through Lewisburg. President Loomis hires him to, cut down this tree. And then he decides to stay here for 40 years, dies here, raises his kids here. And I think that I don't know, speaks to Lewisburg itself. It speaks to the institution of Bucknell, has always, being progressive in thought, being accepting, and they were one of the first institutions to hire someone that was a former slave, freed slave, and to give him a pension. He had a pension for the rest of his, retirement after he had left Bucknell. I think that was very interesting too. So when the late Carmen Gillespie, right before she had passed away, she was starting this project to trace the descendants of Charles Bell. And so I guess there were some students that had tracked down some information. And so when she passed away, the project kind of went under. So I had heard through the grapevine that this was going on then. So I contacted Professor Forche, who runs the Griot Institute, and I asked her, I was like, is this still going on? I'm currently doing a documentary on the Civil War, Bucknell's involvement, Charles Bell in particular, to talk about the Underground Railroad here in Lewisburg. And she was like, oh no, it just got discontinued, it hasn't been, touched since Carmen passed away. So I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I do genealogy, that's one of my side hobbies. And I'm actually looking to take a course at Boston University for genealogical studies over the summer. It's a 15-week course, it starts in May. And I was looking into actually doing that myself, just because I do genealogy. I've done it. My grandpa's one of 13, my grandma's one of 6, my other side's crazy huge, Sicilian and Portuguese. And so I'd gotten into genealogy. So I was telling this to Professor Forche, I was like, can I take on this project again? I would love to restart it and at least try to see what I can find with my skills in genealogy and what I've done with my own family tree to do this for the university, to see if we can find his descendants. And I have to talk to Isabella about it, but I had found his obituary from 1912 when Charles Bell died. He died here in Lewisburg. Him and his wife are both buried in the Lewisburg Cemetery on top of each other. They're in the one slot, and there's a stone beam, if you will, and it says Charles Bell, and it says Sarah C. Bell, but she went by Catherine, because in all accounts that Charles Bell, when he was interviewed right before he died, he said Catherine, my wife Catherine. So I'm wondering if she went by her middle name, because this is Sarah C. It's gotta be, because he never was remarried, but he had 4 children, and in his obituary they were listed. But the women are only by their 2 first initials and their married last names. And then the sons, his 2 sons, and the 2 daughters lived in Pittsburgh, both of them. But they're only the first and second initial and their married last names. Then the sons were listed as living in Lewisburg still. But I tried my own really fast Google search to see if I could find them. And to no avail. I didn't find anything. So I'm going to have to look maybe in Jenny, which is something genealogists use, Jenny, Ancestry.com. There's also myfamilysearch.com. I'm going to have to do some extensive research to see if they're even in the Northeast too, because my searches were a little particular to Pennsylvania. So they could have moved from 1912 to their family could have moved in the last 100 years. So